and then add the new pipe here, the new 24-inch diameter pipe, along with the enlarged tunnel built on this new concrete base. And the tunnel itself is a horseshoe shape, basically 8 foot in width and 8 foot in height. And that allows for proper maintenance of this tunnel. So the progress to date, this is all the stuff in yellow is what we've done to date. And we started here. This is the 4th Street. So this is 4th Street right here in PCH. We have what we call this is the entry point. So basically there's a 100-foot shaft that you basically elevator into the tunnel, 100 foot down. And to get to the main tunnel, there's a 300-foot walk here to get there. And that's a tunnel itself that we improved. And what we're using for logistics is pretty neat. There's rail cars in there that handle the muck after it's dug out and brought back here and hauled off to the landfill from there. So basically the first phase was here, this 300 foot plus another few hundred feet on either end. Then the next phase we worked on was going, up to, this is Aliso Creek area, I'm sorry, this is Three Arch Bay. So going up to Aliso Creek and going to about 1,000 Steps Beach in we call this phase 3. Phase 4 was the improvement, which was a lot of hand mining out in Camel Point in this direction, getting out towards Aliso Creek Beach. And now we're in we call it phase 3, but it's actually the last phase of the project. And this is where we're going. And this is our progress to date. And in 2 years, we should be here and complete this tunnel project. And once we're there, we're hoping to have public tours. Right now, because of insurance reasons, we can't have that. And I think you all would find that magnificent, and our directors have seen that. And I'm not talking about magnificent in terms of a Cadillac project, but just the achievement that was done to stabilize that project. So this is the breakdown of the phases, and you can see how this all adds up to 2 miles and an 8 foot by 8 foot improved tunnel with a brand new sewer main. This is what it looks like when you're dropping down that shaft, the 100-foot shaft, in your elevator car, if you will. And this is what the tunnel looks like as you're walking down. You can see the shotcrete improved tunnel, this ventilation that you're looking at, but you basically walk here in this 8 foot, again, 8 foot by 8 foot horseshoe, and the sewer main runs along that, and there's also the laterals that drop down from the homes are tied into the sewer main throughout the tunnel. This is what it looks like before it's shotcreted. The concrete is sprayed over it, and you can still see the still sets that add stability to the tunnel. That's the important point of that tunnel. And this is what it looks like when it's all said and done. So that would conclude my presentation. I did want to touch on, I'm sorry, I on the rate study, I didn't have a chance to put it in, Director Green. And we were talking yesterday and he asked me to put it in, but basically you'll see a Prop 218 notice. The board went through and looked at a 2-year rate revision over the next 2 years. And it doesn't include the cost of the Doheny desal project construction. It includes only the planning aspects there. And that's why our board wanted to be responsible there and set it for a 2-year time frame rather than a 5-year time frame. So you will see a notice in the mail that shows the differences in your rates. Your fixed charge that you pay on your property tax bill and your commodity charge that you pay per water use. And we are open for any questions there. We're staying within the 6% increase. I know that does sound high. I do apologize, but that is the industry standard right now. We have a lot of pressures on us, including Metropolitan Water District. Their water rates have gone up 6 to 7% per year. We also have a lot of pressures from where we treat our wastewater at the South Orange County Wastewater Authority. Their costs are going up a lot in terms of rehab and replacement of their treatment plants, and that's passed through to us. And and to the customers. So it's a very challenging period in the water and wastewater front. Those rate increases were necessary. Our reserve levels were not, as we looked forward, were not at healthy levels. So we needed to go through that process. And we did land at a very reasonable, compared to the industry out there, rate increase for the demands we have on our system. I'll stop there and I'll field questions. I'm sure there will be questions about that. But thank you very much for having me. What a pleasure and a privilege it's been to speak to this group. So thank you very much. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick.
Do you want to unscreen share, Rick? There we go. And does anyone have any questions for Rick? If you want to put them in the chat or raise your hand or wave wildly, we can call on you. I don't see anything yet. Does anyone have any questions? It was a ton of information. It was very riveting. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane.
Got to be a question there somewhere. Even if you don't know how to put it in the chat, just like wave your hand and unmute yourself and ask.
I have a question.
Great.
Sorry if you already touched up on this, Rick, but if so, can you recap on how the conversation has gone with potential stakeholders and being partners with the desalination project?
Hi, Lillian. Definitely good question. So that one slide that I showed, the finance report, that's for financial analysis. That's going to be really important, and that's going to come forward in July. And that's what our potential partners are looking for. They really want to know what the unit cost will be and their potential impacts on their rates before they take a step forward. So we've started those conversations, but they're anxiously awaiting this study and the study results before we start talking. In terms of hydraulics, we're looking, the nearby adjacent agencies could use the water through that joint regional pipeline. There have been some interest from agencies that are fairly far from us that would have to install their own pump station type facilities to get the water to their service area. But there are some interest from those as well. I'm sorry, Lillian, that's a pretty vague answer, but that is the reality of the situation. We've started the talks. They really want to wait for the results of the financial study. Over.
Rick, I might add, 2 to 3 years ago, not far away from here, the Santa Margarita Water District, which is the Mission Viejo area, basically, they actually did a water portfolio trying to be diverse from all that import water. And they actually have looked at, I guess the board has signaled to take 1,000 acre feet of the Doheny. Now, that hasn't been formalized, but that's on their proposed portfolio program at this time. So just might throw that out. So there's definitely some interest out there.
Thanks, Director Green. You know, something I forgot to add, this is just a big forget here, is our board is really looking at 2 MGD. So the project would be 5 MGD, so about 40% of the project. And so that's where the partnerships really come in. We're looking for the additional 3 MGD, and then Director Green is mentioning the Santa Margarita and the 1 MGD that they're looking at. So that's the breakdown in math for that. And it's important that we're only looking at 2 MGD because that adds rate insulation, that we're not getting as much as we can possibly drink. We're just adding it as part of a portfolio for us. So 2 MGD is roughly 40% of our overall drinking water supply as well.
So
Thanks.
One person has asked this question. You listed those pro, were there any in opposition?
The EIR hearing was where we heard that, and there were some comments. There were comments made by the Surfrider Foundation, and there were comments and concerns for us to really look at the project. And but in terms of opposition, I'm trying to recall. I didn't, and our directors are on this call as well. We didn't hear any major opposition at that hearing, and what we've heard is from the community. We understand that our community is very concerned about the cost, and so are we. And if I were to say our community, there has been folks that haven't been exactly fond of this project because of the potential unit cost. So that's actually made us as a district take a step back and do a lot of these due diligence studies and the financial study. And we certainly don't want to go forward with a project that the community does not want to do. So we definitely want to hear from our community. We post our board meetings. Please come, please talk about it. If you have concerns, it could only help yield a better project at the end, or no project at the end. So, over.
Any other questions? Well, thank you. Let me pass you back to Bill.
Well, thank you, Jane, and thank you, Rick, for presentation. And I see there's several directors on the Zoom here this morning. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any one of us, and be glad to sit down with you and give you a little bit more detail if that's what you'd like to do. And so, thanks again, everyone. And Jane, you want to announce next month's program?
Sure. Next month, I just put it away. There we go. Next month on June 18th, Wendy Marshall, the CEO and president of the Ocean Institute, will be speaking. In fact, why don't I just screen share this real quick? Screen share that. There we go. Everybody should be seeing this. So June 18th at our regularly scheduled time by Zoom at 8:30 a.m. And then on July 16th, Dr. Brad Baker, the principal of Dana Hills High School, will be speaking. So, we try to get speakers from all facets of our community. And so we're kind of shifting gears and having speakers from the Ocean Institute and then a local high school. So I think that will be a neat way to maybe wrap up the Zoom part, and hopefully late summer or fall, we may be transitioning back to having things at the coffee importers in the Dana Point Harbor, outside with real live people. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next month back here on Zoom.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.